My name is Clara, and if you give me just a few minutes, I'll tell you a story that I never thought I would share out loud. A story about loss, about pain, about almost giving up on life, and about something I thought I'd never feel again, hope. I live in a small town by the sea. It's the kind of place where everyone knows each other, where neighbors wave when they see you, and where the air always carries the sound of the waves. The sea is calm most days, but it can turn wild in an instant. I sometimes think it's like life itself, peaceful one moment, stormy the next. For almost all of my life, I lived here with my husband James. He was my best friend. We were married for 35 years. We had one son, Daniel, who was the light of our lives. Daniel was quiet but kind. He loved books, he loved to draw, and he had this dream of becoming an artist. James and I always believed he would do something amazing, but dreams can shatter with one phone call. Daniel was 23 when he died in a car accident. I still remember that day with a sharpness that cuts through me even now. I sat on the kitchen floor with James, holding his hand, and there were no words. Just silence. Just the kind of pain you can't explain to anyone else. After Daniel's funeral, James changed. He stopped talking much. Every morning he walked to the beach and sat on the same bench by the cliff. I used to watch him from the window. I knew he wasn't just looking at the sea, he was talking to Daniel in his own way. And then, one morning, James didn't wake up. The doctor said it was his heart. But I think it was his grief. So now it's just me. Me, this house, the town, and the sea. I still visit that same bench every morning. I bring a book, but I don't read. I just sit, close my eyes, and imagine James and Daniel sitting beside me. Sometimes I can almost hear Daniel's laugh, or James pointing out stars that aren't even visible in daylight. For a few seconds, it feels real. Then it fades, and I'm left alone again. People in town are kind. They always ask how I am, and I always smile and say, I'm okay. But inside I've been holding sadness so heavy, it feels like a stone pressing on my chest. And then one afternoon, something changed. I noticed a young woman with a little girl. They sat on the grass not far from me. The girl had curly hair and a bright red sweater. She laughed as she spun near the edge of the cliff. The woman followed slowly, watching her with tired eyes. The next day they came again. And the next, I didn't speak. I just watched. But after a few days, the little girl came running up to me. She said, Hi, my name is Lily. What's yours? I smiled for the first time in what felt like forever. I'm Clara, I told her. Then she tilted her head and asked, Are you sad? The question startled me. Out of the mouths of children, right? I looked into her big brown eyes and whispered, Sometimes. She nodded, like she understood. Then she said, Me too. Mommy is sad a lot. Her mother hurried over, embarrassed. Lily, don't bother the lady. She's not bothering me, I said quickly. The woman looked at me, and I saw the kind of tiredness that only comes from carrying too much for too long. Emma, she said softly. I'm Emma, and this is Lily. That was the beginning. At first, it was small. Just a smile, a wave, a few words about the weather. But slowly Emma and I started to talk more. Lily would sit beside me on the bench and tell me silly stories about cats and rainbows. Sometimes she made me laugh out loud, and that laugh surprised me. I hadn't heard it in years. One morning, Emma sat next to me while Lily ran around in the grass. Emma's eyes were red, like she'd been crying. Are you okay? I asked gently. She hesitated, then nodded. I moved here 2 months ago. From the city. I needed to get away. Just you and Lily? She nodded again. Her father left. He didn't want to be a parent. My heart ached for her. That must be hard. Some days, she whispered, I don't know if I can do this. I tried to stay strong for her. I didn't know what to say, so I said the only thing I could. You're not alone. Her eyes filled with tears. and she whispered, "Thank you. That was the day we truly became friends." Over time, I told her about James and Daniel. I don't usually tell people about them. It hurts too much. But with Emma, I could. She listened quietly, not saying "I'm sorry" over and over. She just let me speak. And that meant more than she knew. One day I brought Daniel's old sketchbook to the bench. He used to draw the sea, the sky, the birds. His drawings were full of life. Lily asked if I drew them. I said no, they were my sons. "They're pretty," she said. "Can I draw too?" I handed her a blank page and she drew a sun with a big smile and a rainbow. Emma watched and said she loves to draw. It makes her feel calm. Daniel was the same, I said. That day, something inside me shifted. Not joy, not yet, but a small flicker of light. We started meeting at the bench every morning. Sometimes we brought sandwiches, sometimes just tea. Lily always brought her laughter. One rainy day, Emma came with a thermos of hot tea. We sat under umbrellas and drank quietly. She looked out at the sea and said, "This bench feels like home now," I told her. "It was once my husband's favorite place. He came here every day." She smiled softly. "Maybe that's why it feels so peaceful." That night, I looked at the family photo on my wall. Jane smiling, Daniel with his arm around me. I touched the glass and whispered, "You would have liked Lily." As winter came, the sea grew gray and the wind sharper. But Emma and I still met at the bench. We brought blankets and tea. Lily wore a scarf too big for her, but she still ran and laughed. One morning, Emma looked at me and said, "You've helped me more than you know." "How?" I asked. "You listen. You don't judge. And when I talk to you, I feel safe." Her words warmed me more than the tea in my hands. That night, I opened Daniel's sketchbook again and found an old letter he had written when he was 16. It said, "Dear Mom, if one day I'm not here, I want you to keep smiling. I'll be in the wind, in the waves, in the stars." I cried as I read it. His words felt like a hand on my shoulder. The next morning, I took the letter with me and gave it to Emma. She read it with tears in her eyes. "He was wise," she said. "Yes," I whispered. "He was full of love." She folded the letter carefully and gave it back. "Can I ask you something?" She said, "Of course. What helped you keep going after you lost him?" I looked at the sea. The waves were gentle that morning. I didn't give up because I still had James. And now I don't give up because I still have memories. And people like you and Lily. Emma looked down. "Sometimes I feel weak." I shook my head. "You're one of the strongest people I know." She smiled through her tears. That afternoon, Lily drew a picture of the three of us on the bench. She gave it to me proudly. "This is for you," I smiled. "Thank you, Lily. I'll keep it always." And I did. I framed it and placed it beside Daniel's drawings. One from the past, one from the present, both full of love. Then, one day, Emma didn't come. Not the next day either. Or the day after that. By the fifth day, I was worried. I walked past the little house I knew she rented. No answer at the door. Finally, on the sixth day, I found her sitting on the bench alone. Her hair was messy, her face pale. Lily wasn't with her. "Where's Lily?" I asked. "She's with my sister for a few days," Emma whispered. I needed time. I sat beside her silently. After a long pause, she said, "Last night, Lily asked me, why don't I have a daddy?" And I didn't know what to say. She's growing. She's asking more questions. I feel like I failed her. I touched her hand gently. "You haven't failed. You're doing your best." She shook her head. "Sometimes I just want to disappear." I held her hand tighter. I know that feeling. After Daniel died, I didn't want to wake up some mornings. But I did. And I'm glad I did. Because if I hadn't, I wouldn't have met you. Her tears spilled over. Do you really mean that? I do. She took a deep breath. I think I need help. That's okay, I said. Asking for help is brave. The next day, Emma called a counselor. She started going once a week. She told me it felt strange, but like opening a window after a long winter. When Lily came back, she ran into my arms and said, I missed you. I missed you too, I said. From then on, things started to change. Slowly, Emma was still tired sometimes, still sad, but there was a new strength in her. She smiled more often. One morning, I confessed something to her. I used to think my life had ended after James and Daniel. But then you and Lily came. And I realized maybe my story still has chapters left. Maybe we keep living not just for ourselves, but for the people we've lost. Emma took my hand. You gave me hope when I didn't have any. You gave me the same, I whispered. Spring came. The sea turned blue again. Flowers bloomed near the cliff. One day Emma told me she wanted to go back to school, to study and work with children. That's wonderful, I said. She applied for a course and was accepted. She cried when she read the letter. We celebrated with tea and cake. Lily made a card that said, Mommy is going to be a helper now. Our friendship grew into something like family. Emma brought groceries for me. I babysat Lily. We shared dinners and laughter. One evening she said, You've become like a second mother to me. And you've become like a daughter to me, I replied, with tears in my eyes. That night, I looked up at the stars and whispered, Thank you, Daniel, for sending them to me. Now it's been a year. Emma works at a daycare. She helps children and other mothers. Lily is growing fast, her drawings full of houses, flowers, and smiling people. And me? I feel alive again. Every morning I still go to the bench. Emma and Lily often join me. Sometimes we laugh, sometimes we cry, but the tears are softer now. That old bench by the sea isn't just wood anymore. It's where grief met hope. Where pain slowly turned into peace. Where three hearts found each other across loss, across silence, across time, because love never really leaves us. It just changes shape. Thank you for listening to my story. And if you're hurting right now, please know this: you are not alone. Healing takes time, but it comes. Stay strong. Be kind to yourself. And let the waves carry your pain gently away. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share.